Welcome to episode 2 of the Nintendo Newscast. This week's guest is TJ from Smash Supremacy. Introducing your hosts, Lauren and Amiibo Jason.
Good evening, Nintendo fans. Welcome to episode 2 of the Nintendo Newscast. My name's Amiibo Jason. I am one of your co-hosts for the evening. I say one of your co-hosts because we actually have 2 other hosts this evening, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And with me, as always, we have the lovely, the stunning...
Lauren, also known as Happily Candied.
How are you this week?
I'm doing really well. We've got some fun news to talk about, especially 1 or 2 points I can't wait to get to.
So how do you feel that this is our second podcast for the Nintendo Newscast, and we're doing it weekly now? So we have to be doing more and more stuff.
I'm all about consistency, so I'm very, very pleased with how this is going, considering we've got the second newscast back and our second week of live streaming.
Now, you say we're all about consistency, but we've never been consistent with the newscast ever.
I personally have always been about consistency.
And we had to push back recording on this one, so... Technically, we're not totally consistent.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on past
I just want to point this out, but we are getting better.
Yes, we are.
All right, so with us also, if you're watching in the video cast, you already know, because he's smiling there right on the screen. We have TJ. You might know him from our YouTube channel, Amiibo News, Nintendo Inquirer. He is doing Smash Supremacy, Me v Me, Custom Conquest. He is a superstar in the world of Mii fighting. How's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's
awesome having you on. You were on the Amiibo Newscast back in the day, which was fantastic. We had a great time talking to you on that. So when we decided we were going to be moving into a new direction with the Nintendo Newscast, it was something that Lauren and I discussed, wanting to have you back pretty much right away. Yeah. So and not quite episode 1, but episode 2.
Yes. But this is even more exciting because last time it was only audio, and this time we have the visual too. So everybody can see TJ for the first time on the newscast.
Unless you're on iTunes or the Google Play Store. You can't see him.
Sorry about that. It's worth YouTubing it up.
Ooh,
I agree.
Totally. I highly recommend it.
I don't like not being like the best looking guy in the room, but here we are.
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
I have to point out though, we can see your room in the background. You have a great Amiibo display. It's absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
What are those, by the way? Before we go, I know that's not the Amiibo Newscast anymore, but I'm an Amiibo freak.
It's a plexiglass shadow box with a mirrored background.
Nice.
And my younger brother is we're skilled in very different areas. This guy's a construction genius. I wanted this for a different figure series that I was collecting a while back, and they just happened to be very accommodating for the scale of the Amiibo, so I stuck them on there.
Got it. It looks good. It looks really good.
In a way, it's like you two have collaborated on something. Your love for Amiibo and his amazing engineering skills.
Yeah, it's fun to have siblings who have useful talents. My other brother, younger than him, is a computer genius. So I've got one who's very mechanically and construction inclined, and he can fix my car and build me things. And I have the other one who can repair my computer, and I'm just like, want me to write you a monologue? So I think I got the better end of the deal.
Hey, you're very artistic. I'm gonna say that, and both online, graphically, and with your Amiibo. So
thank you.
Yes, you have many talents, a wide range of skills.
And I have to ask this too: if you're on the audio only cast, you can't see this, but above you, I see a framed copy of Majora's Mask.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. So you even have more up there. That is very cool.
A gorgeous display.
So if you can't see this right now, we have the original gold Legend of Zelda, we have the Adventures of Link in gold, Ocarina of Time in gold, and the gold Majora's Mask framed.
They're all framed and they have matted backgrounds, each one having a different color in the background, but they all have this beautiful rich color. That's gorgeous, TJ.
Thank you.
You must be proud of that.
You know, I had them since I was 5, the original Zelda game.
Yeah.
I've carried it with me everywhere that I've gone, and then it was just, I think last year I decided, why am I keeping this in a drawer? I enjoy it, and if I can't really play it anymore, I might as well be able to enjoy looking at it.
Yeah.
So I framed him up.
Hey, I'm not going to complain at all because I'm all about displaying my stuff. So that looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So, speaking of The Legend of Zelda, since you have it up there, we might as well move into our very first topic, which touches on The Legend of Zelda. This is a rumor, and I just want to point this out before we go any further into the newscast. This is a rumor about the NX and the potential of the NX getting The Legend of Zelda. So, there is a rumor currently stating that Zelda U is going to be on the NX and the Wii U at the same time. And when that rumor came out, there was another small little tidbit of information that said that there is a potential that you can play as both a male and a female version of Link, which is the first time this has ever been able to happen. Link has always been a male character. He's always been the silent protagonist. No customization really whatsoever for him. So if this rumor is true, it's a huge departure from what we're used to in the Legend of Zelda franchise. And I'm really curious having you on the show because you're a Zelda fan just as much as I am. But we also have Lauren, who can give us the female perspective of potentially having a Linkle joining the cast of The Legend of Zelda for the Wii U or potentially the NX. I want to start with you, TJ. I want to see your thoughts on possibly having a female variant of Link to play in-game.
Well, I did read a lot of the rumors, and they sound to me more like Nintendo is stating that there's the possibility of selecting a male or female playable character, but not that there's any specific reference to it being a female version of Link. So I think that while you've always assumed the identity of a male character in the form of Link, there are few games that have such a rich background of strong female characters. And even though they revolve around Link's journey, you can imagine in games like Ocarina of Time where you have Impa on her own little mission, and then you've got Zelda masquerading as Sheik. I would like to see if there is a female character, more than having a female alternative to Link, assuming the identity of one of these other really great characters. I would love to play Zelda's role in Ocarina of Time. I would like to go on her adventure, on her quest, and see what it took for her to try to remain incognito. And you could tell anytime you had an encounter with Sheik that there were a lot of gears working in the background that she played a fundamental role in that fascinated me and interested me and sparked my imagination. But I would much rather play that than play as Link as a girl. And I know this is kind of a controversial thing, but to me, Link is as inherently male as Zelda is inherently female. I have no opposition to assuming the role of a girl. I have a daughter, and I love for her to be able to have the option to pop it in and assume the identity of this character as the same gender as her if she prefers to do that. But Link is a boy to me. And so I would rather there be either a new character invented or that we get to get behind the wheel of one of these really cool female characters.
That's a good point. I mean, I was very similar into kind of the same boat. Speaking of being able to play as Zelda in Sheik and Ocarina of Time, I remember there was some fan art that was showing like this whole new game that they could essentially develop. I think it was when the Wii first came out, somebody said this would be my dream Wii game, and it was what was happening in the background during Ocarina of Time when Link was, asleep for all those years. What was Zelda and Sheik doing that entire time? Or maybe just even Zelda, because it sounds fascinating. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on there, so I completely agree with you on that point. The same thing, too, I obviously grew up with the Legend of Zelda series. My very first game was the original on the NES. I really started getting into the series around Ocarina of Time, and I've played every iteration religiously, like the day it's come out. Lauren can tell you when Twilight Princess HD came out, I was ecstatic. I could not wait to play. So the idea of having a character that we know so well, Link, changing a role so drastically, even though if it could be something by choice, was interesting to me. It was something that I wasn't necessarily on board with at first. I kind of see it as, with this open world Zelda game they're trying to create, I almost see it like Skyrim, where you can create your own character and name it whatever you want. But to me, that kind of cheapens Link to a certain extent. I don't want him to be like a generic, like you can change the color of his hair and the length and his body type, like the entire thing. I kind of just want the story about him. I'm really curious to see if they do end up doing this, having two separate playable characters. Possibly, like you said before, if they had it so that the story took a slightly different turn depending on who you picked, so it wasn't like the exact same character, just in a female form, I'd be more on board with it that way. But yeah, I completely agree. I am really curious to see what Lauren thinks on this subject. Well, not just because you're a girl, because you're a Zelda fan too.
Exactly,
so.
Yeah. Well, regarding like multiple playable characters like that, I actually think that I'm right on board with TJ. I assumed that when they mentioned Linkle, that it wasn't like choosing a male or female version of one character, but it was, do you want to play as Link or Linkle, two very separate characters with different storylines? And that's what I assumed. Same with, as soon as he mentioned I would love to play the role of Zelda, when Hyrule Warriors came out, I loved the idea of even just battling as different Zelda characters, including especially Zelda, because I love Zelda. And I liked the idea when they mentioned having an open world, and I think that it was kind of mentioned way back when, just little bits and pieces of rumors about being able to play as characters other than Link. As if we were able to do that, that's what made me so excited about the idea of an open world, because it would give us more storylines, more opportunities to see not just Link, but the whole world of Hyrule come to life from new perspectives. And that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I want to get out of this game. So as far as that goes, I have no opposition. As far as Linkle goes, I'm all on board with this. I like...
Linkle, again, I just want to point out,
yes.
is not necessarily the name they're going to give her.
No.
We're so used to Linkle in Hyrule Warriors Legends, but no, I completely know what you're saying.
I have no opposition if they want to create an entirely new character. I like the idea of taking characteristics from Link, even like the physical characteristics, and applying them to a female character. That's pretty cool. It's something we haven't seen before. It is something that seems to be kind of hot right now when it comes to pop culture. So I can see Nintendo wanting to take advantage of that. I have no issues with it. Personally, I'm just kind of excited to see the direction that Nintendo's planning to go. I guess I don't want to give too much of an opinion yet, though, without more information.
Yeah.
Because right now we're basing all of this purely on speculation.
And I want to point this out too, real quick. If you know anything about the history of The Legend of Zelda, if you've read the Hyrule Historia, or if you know anything about kind of the mythology behind the series, every Link, almost every Link, there's certain exceptions depending on what timeline you're in, is generally a different hero that kind of shares the lineage of the original chosen hero, which I think the very first one is in Skyward Sword, if I'm correct. I think that's the very top of the iceberg currently in Zelda lore. From what I understand, I think some people are kind of piecing together that Zelda U is going to take place before Skyward Sword, so I'm curious to see if that's true or not. I would rather see, if they did go the female Link route, I would rather see them just kind of double down on that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see something where you could only play as a female version of Link. Because in this case, I mean, obviously, like we said before, Link is not going to be the exact same Link across every story that's ever come out.
Yeah.
So it is fair to say that there could be an ancestor of the original Link, or this could be the original Link, depending on where in the timeline this falls. It's fair to say that there could be a female that falls in there too.
Yeah.
So I think Nintendo is a master at storytelling. I have zero fear that they're going to be able to handle this. So I think we're going to be okay.
With all the delays we've had, I feel like we're in for a classy game, a full-fledged classy game, and Nintendo does not disappoint when it comes to that kind of franchise like Zelda. So I'm not personally worried about this.
I wasn't a huge fan of Triforce Heroes.
Well,
it was fun for a bit.
That's branch off. It's kind of like Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. I consider that a branch of a series.
It's fighting words, but you're gonna get a bunch of crap in the comments for comparing that to Amiibo Festival.
No. I'm not comparing the two games, but you can take a franchise, you can take a series, and you can say there's a deviation from it in a new game. And that's exactly what Triforce Heroes was. It wasn't a regular Zelda game that we've seen before.
I can see
that. It's something different. So no, it's not like Amiibo Festival. That's definitely, it's just something unique, I think, that we haven't seen before.
Triforce Heroes, though, does fall in the timeline, in the official timeline. So I see what you're saying though completely. It's not necessarily like a full-fledged game. It didn't get like the love.
I actually love Triforce Heroes. I love the multiplayer. So I'm not.
We had a lot of fun playing.
Oh, it
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I conceptually appreciate it, but it's one of those games that it does ask a lot of the player in terms of the buy-in, because while it's not as bad as Four Swords Adventures for was that the GameCube? We had to have 4 adapters and 4 handheld devices.
Oh, and we did.
But
I had 3 friends coming over. It was
the
great.
Dedication of one summer. But the problem for me personally at this point in my life with a Triforce Heroes is I do have it, and I've played through the single player mode, but because I'm not present with the people who are playing, and at the point that I'm in my life right now, it is very common where I have to literally just drop something so I can go catch a baby.
Yeah.
And I can't, I feel a level of responsibility where I can't abandon the other people. And I also don't want to just be like, sorry guys, peace out. I've got stuff to do in the real world. So this adventure's over for me. So it's prevented me from really being able to explore it online, and to get 2 people in one room to play the same game at the same time is something and practical. But to get 3 people in the same room with the same game is not just twice as hard, it's exponentially more difficult. So the multiplayer mode is something that I personally have not really had an opportunity to explore.
We'll have to fix that at some point.
Yeah.
So when we're in California later this year for E3, we'll bring it.
Get a little bit of time to some.
Let's do it. We say that now, but I think we're going to be up to our eyebrows with NX stuff.
You know, I'm really thinking that E3 is when all the official NX news is going to drop, and I don't think you guys are going to get a second's worth of sleep.
No.
I kind of hope not. I'm excited for it.
I'm not going to complain over that.
You know, we have had a couple opportunities to play as other Zelda characters in other titles, like in Spirit Tracks, we get to explore like a semi-co-op with Link and Zelda in that inhabited armor.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty fun mechanic. And then we fully get to assume the identity of a ton of Zelda characters in Hyrule Warriors, which for my video game buck is exactly where I want to be. That's where I want to spend my time. But what's fun about it is, even though you're on the same mission, you're on the same adventure, each character feels so different. And I would love it if that was what this Zelda Wii U or Zelda NX offered, that you could play the game as either character, and even if the adventure is the same, even if the course of events that the characters have to perform is the same, that it presents some different experience in the way that the characters handle, or in the way that it feels to move them around. That would make it fun to me.
Yeah, I've always considered Hyrule Warriors kind of like a stepping stone into what Zelda is becoming, and in the direction that it's going right now. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think we've seen that before with Nintendo. It likes to take baby steps sometimes to gradually evolve the community and its audience with the games that we love so much. So I could see that.
Can I ask you guys, when you play Legend of Zelda games, do you put in Link, or do you enter your own name?
I put in Link 100% of the time.
I could never put in another name other than Link.
Except when I first got Ocarina of Time, after I beat it, I went back and I put a very vulgar name in, only because it was so funny to read the dialogue with the terrible vulgar name in it. But once I matured slightly, I consistently put Link. So,
see, I put TJ.
Do you?
I do, and I always did since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I always wanted to be Link. Link has in many ways inspired and informed the adult that I've grown into. As a 5-year-old, I'd pick up sticks in my yard and swing them around and pretend that I was getting advice from wise men and battling these pig-like monsters. And so even to present day, I put in TJ because I like getting lost in that adventure, and I like assuming the identity of this great hero. But I do think a lot of people, and as Link has developed more of a unique personality of his own, they think of him as Link.
Yeah.
But I still kind of like to think of him as me because that's fun to me. In high school, my guidance counselor sent a concern letter home to my parents because I kept saying that I wanted to be a sword fighter. And they're like, I don't know how to advise him career-wise because he keeps telling me that this is what he wants to do. My mom and dad are just like, he's been saying this since he was 5, so this isn't news to us. You know, praise God that I have been able to create some sort of career for myself in this very impractical line of work. But I count myself very blessed, but at the same time, a lot of that credit has to go to Link for even making me motivated and inspired in this way.
I think we have to, at this point, explain a little bit more about TJ's background. Just a little bit, just so we can get people in to those people who don't know TJ's background yet.
TJ, why don't you, real quick,
please tell us.
A 30-second bio. If it goes over 30, that's totally fine. But
So I've been involved in martial arts my entire life, and I went to film school, and I learned all about the art of film production, but my primary focus at the time was performance-based, particularly in stunts. And so I've spent most of my career I grew up in Chicago, but I've lived in LA for the last 10 years, and I got in with this group at Swordplay Studios in Burbank under the tutelage of Swordmaster Tim Wesky, who is amazing, and he's trained some of Hollywood's top sword fighters. And so I have had the opportunity to perform as a lot of different characters for film, TV, and certainly thousands of live performances. And that's really where my passion is. I love wielding weapons, and I love putting on a show, and I love entertaining. So that's kind of how I have sustained myself out here in California. And it's a unique job, but it's a fun job. It's definitely a very small niche.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's so one of a kind to me. You're a one-off type of person, TJ, because you live such a full life, and I know you have a lot of family and everything there too. And on top of that, you do 3 shows with us, and you have a passion for Nintendo and things like Zelda, and I see how it's all connected though, and I can appreciate that, and I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just think that's amazing, and I think that's also something that people can try to aspire to. You know, you took a piece of your childhood, you applied it to your life from a young age, and you let it grow from there very naturally and organically, and I think that's awesome.
Thank you. Well, it's not easy. I would say to anybody, if you have a practical skill, exploit it to its full extent. But if there's absolutely nothing else you can do, and all you want to do when you wake up is swing a sword around, by God, do it.
Oh gosh, I love quoting people. That's a great quote from TJ.
So before we put this topic to bed,
Yes.
I just want to get your feedback on this. Do you believe that we're going to see a simultaneous release of Zelda U, whatever it's going to be titled, on the NX and the Wii U?
I have a theory about this.
Okay,
Now,
let's hear it.
When they first announced the NX as an unofficial announcement, just for the investors meeting, it was purported to not be a replacement for the 3DS or the Wii U, but as a third pillar. And I think that that's kind of getting a little bit lost in the current rumor mill, where maybe Nintendo could have changed course, and maybe it is going to be their next console, but I actually think that its connectivity with the Wii U and with their current handheld devices may be a little unexpected, and it may manifest in ways that we are not predicting yet. If it is truly a third pillar, then it's not going to represent a traditional handheld or console in the way that we know. And how that pertains specifically to Zelda for Wii U or Zelda for NX, I'm not 100% certain that it cannot be both as a single title.
Yeah.
And maybe it is going to be Twilight Princess over again, where it's released as a launch title for the new system, and maybe it'll have a slightly staggered release for current Wii U owners, or maybe we'll get a dual release on the day. But I'm not 100% convinced that they aren't one and the same.
Yeah. I'm becoming more in the camp of thinking it's going to be a full-fledged brand new console. Everything I've seen, and this actually moves us into our next topic. Anyway, there's been so many interesting leaks, and obviously you have to take a leak for what it is. It could be complete and utter nonsense, and in many cases it is. If you remember the fake NX controller that we talked about last week on the Newscast too. I mean, if people just they want to get a rise out of the Nintendo community, who is just they're dying for any kind of information. But
I know.
But then you get leakers who are generally notoriously correct. They leak things in the past, and they've been correct nearly 100% of the time. And we actually just got a rumor from let's see, Emily Rogers. Do you remember Emily Rogers?
Yes. I actually followed her for a while, I believe, online.
So Emily Rogers ended up calling a few releases that were going to be coming for the Wii U that she was completely right about, and for the 3DS a while ago as well. And she came out recently with this leak saying that there's going to be 4 games on the Wii U that are going to be ported over to the NX for launch. Zelda being the first. And the other rumors at this point are Smash Brothers, Splatoon, and Super Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker would be a very interesting choice if they ended up porting that over to the NX, just because it doesn't seem like it's the kind of game that would need any kind of port in any way, shape, or form, so I wouldn't be too sure why that would happen. But
well, there is one really good reason, and that's the low install base of the Wii U.
Yeah.
So if you want to continue to support this game, which I certainly think it's smart to do, this is a game that can potentially spark an entirely new genre, but yet a very small group of people, relatively speaking, that have access to it. By making it a port on the Wii U, on the NX, then it allows for all those people who are interested in it, but were not too Wii U savvy, to be able to continue to, well, at least have an opportunity for them to get into it in the first place, while at the same time allowing them to become involved in the community of people who are currently making really great levels on the Wii U.
I find that to be, I find the rumor, I'm excited because I love Splatoon and I would buy it again. I would love to see a definitive Smash Bros. With upgraded graphics to a certain extent, and I would like to see all the DLC characters, and then I would love to see them add maybe 1 or 2 more characters for like the definitive collection on the NX. But I kind of see it as a little cheap.
Really?
Having four games for a launch system that are just ports from a system that, if you're a true Nintendo fan, you already own to a certain extent, to at least in some variety.
I think it's a smart move. We don't know the whole lineup of all the games yet. I would say it's a cheap move if we only got like 1 or 2 brand new games.
Yeah.
But let's see the list of new games first before we critique this list of possible ports.
And we know absolutely nothing about this console other than the just flurry of leaks that we've seen at this point that could be legit or they could not be. So it's hard to say if they port it, what does that really even mean? Is it going to be just like a graphical upgrade like we've seen with Twilight Princess? Is it going to be completely new functionality? Obviously, we know there's rumors that there's some sort of gimmick with this handheld that may or may not come bundled with the NX. It may be the NX. Nobody knows. So who knows? Maybe it's going to make Mario Maker even better. Maybe it's going to make Splatoon even better.
That's a good point. Not knowing what a port means does certainly make it hard to pass judgment at this point. But it seems to me like you have these, they're not just AAA games. They are groundbreaking, revolutionary games that are some of the best, not of their generation, but of all time.
Yeah.
Like I would put Mario Maker and Splatoon, even though I can't play it, I certainly appreciate what it is. But it's certainly groundbreaking as a shooter, and the interface is something that's really captured the hearts, minds, and imagination of people the world over. And then Smash Brothers, of course, that's my jam. I'm all about that. So you got some of the best games of all time on one of the poorest performing consoles in recent memory. To move them onto a console that could bring a lot more people into it makes sense to me. But the bigger point is all of those games have a very robust online community. Mm-hmm. And so by moving them into the next console, that's actually reassurance for the people who bought it on the Wii U and who supported it on the Wii U that they'll continue to receive support from Nintendo even long after the Wii U is done. So I'm excited and encouraged about that.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about the online connectivity and all the community rallying together like that. Good point.
I'm nervous.
Big surprise.
I think it's nerve-wracking knowing that Nintendo is putting obviously a lot of R&D into the NX. It has record levels of hype. No matter what they announce, people are going to be upset.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little nervous about that because the leaks are becoming so frequent and people are investing serious amounts of time and energy into even fake leaks that almost no matter what Nintendo does, if it's not mind-blowing, if it's not amazing, then they're shooting themselves not in the foot but in the face by not releasing some facts now. Once the leaks get a little bit ahead of the system and they start to inflate the system beyond what it's truly capable of
Yeah.
doing, that's bad news.
I mean, I've heard everything
concerns
from
me.
it's going to be a nominal upgrade from the Wii U. I've heard people say that it has 4K video support so that you can stream 4K movies, but you can't play games in 4K. I've heard people say that all the games are going to be in 4K. It's already to that point where I think that it's completely inflated beyond belief. I think my biggest concern at this point is if it's not even a rumor anymore. PlayStation pretty much said there's going to be, or Sony said there's going to be an upgrade to the PlayStation 4.5, the PlayStation 4K is what most people are calling it at this point. I think that we're going to see Nintendo have this amazing product, and we're going to see Sony come pretty much right off the bat saying, hey, guess what? We have VR and a 4K console, and they're going to overshadow it almost immediately. I'm concerned. I'm always concerned. This wouldn't be a newscast if I'm
Jason
not concerned.
being concerned.
But no matter what it is, I give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt no matter what. I will buy whatever console they push over to me because I know that they have the gamer's best interests in mind. I think that the most fun I've played this last generation, I mean, completely, is on the Wii U. The Wii U is the only console I have plugged in right now. My PS4 is a Netflix machine. At best,
It's true.
I did pre-order the PlayStation VR. I am excited for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's only so many gritty, violent games that I can play before I'm just sick of that genre completely. I'd rather play a game like Splatoon in like 3-minute increments. It's colorful, it's fun, it's exciting. It's just all around fun. Compared to a game like Call of Duty where you're like throwing your controller across the room and it's just excess violence and gore.
It's splashes of imagination mixed with critical thinking, because it's a challenge based game where you have to work with other people and people that you don't know, and then at the same time you can enjoy it visually.
And there's no voice chat, and that's great.
Yeah,
I don't have to hear like people telling me what they're doing to my mom all day.
I actually really do enjoy voice chat if it's used appropriately and correctly. I really don't care, although it can be kind of funny sometimes to hear people bashing each other just a little bit on the other consoles, but you don't get as much out of the game. It's not as much about the game. That's about communicating and I guess interaction with other people. This one, it's about a great mix of game and people, and that's what Nintendo has really mastered.
Well, okay, let's point this out. I know this is off topic, but I don't care. So we were talking about Triforce Heroes, and there's no voice chat. The only way you can communicate is through these Link emoticons.
It's the best.
And you can tap on the screen what emoticon you want to use, and it's hard to explain how funny it can be because there's like these 4 emoticons that you can use to communicate with your teammates. One is like Link with pom-poms, like he's throwing them up in the air.
When he gets excited.
And if your teammate dies and you don't know your teammate, you could just throw up like the pom-poms over and over and watch them get mad at you for doing it. There's different ways that you can communicate in Nintendo titles. They're just more fun.
Yeah, even just by moving your character around and getting in the spot that you know that another person needs to be. And you can sense their frustration because you can see this little character move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there's this humor behind it. I feel like it's intentional by Nintendo.
We were dying.
We
couldn't breathe. It was so funny.
Tears were streaming down my face. So that is definitely one reason why multiplayer with fewer capabilities is actually a lot more fun sometimes.
It is neat how Nintendo has a way of taking limitations and using that to explore creativity to take those limitations and turn them into an experience enhancement. So part of the fun of that Triforce Heroes games becomes trying to play Pictionary or charades with your buddies on where you can't actually use the powers of speech. Yeah. And another really cool thing about that is it allows you to get past the language barrier too. So if you have games that are sparring, our gaming community is a lot more global than it's ever been. So if we're going to be playing games with people who speak languages or use characters that we can't read or understand, then by simplifying it into a picture, that's something that is universal. And that's a creative way to get around that obstacle to me.
It is. And like I said, it's classy. I think that's one reason why I love Nintendo so much. It's this combination of family friendliness and classiness, and it's endearing. I like it, and I'll always love it more than all the other systems.
And don't get me wrong, like I love doing the splits and punching somebody in the nuts as Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
Like like seeing somebody keel over after you get them right in the Goomsy Giyami is hilarious. But if I only have a little bit of time to play a game, there's no question that it's got to be a Nintendo game.
Yes.
And I know that it really did hurt the Wii U to not have access to a lot of the third-party titles. But for me personally, where I'm coming from is my purchasing habits for the Wii U are no different than going back 3 console generations. I usually only buy the first-party titles anyway. Yeah. And so for me, the Wii U is one of the greatest systems ever made.
Yeah.
No,
I think Jason's going to agree with you on that one.
I own, and it's not just because we run Nintendo Inquirer, I own every first-party Wii U game with the exception of Mario Tennis Ultra Smash because I refuse to buy it.
I refuse to buy it.
Oh, wow, both
$10 or less and I'll buy it.
I need that game to drop to $20 before I even think about it. And it's for one reason. Me. Why is there no me?
It's ridiculous.
They blew my mind when Smash Brothers was announced for Wii U and they were gradually leaking out characters. Yeah. And they're like, Link, yeah, he's been going back since the first game. No surprise there. I love Link. He's my staple. Then they're like, Little Mac. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my other one. That was the original Nintendo. And if there's one character in existence I would rather play than Link or Little Mac, it's me.
Yeah.
And so to subtract, it's not like they didn't add it. They subtracted it as a feature from previous Mario Tennis titles. And I get maybe needing to rush it out so you have some kind of cool holiday title in the absence of Star Fox, but not worth it.
Not even close.
You lost $50 from this guy right here. That one feature.
I wonder if was that a complaint among the community at all?
Oh, everybody hated it.
Really?
It was universally hated.
I couldn't remember.
It was so lacking in features.
Yeah.
It had, I mean, if you look at what the other Mario Tennis games offered, like full-fledged, like they had like a story mode in it. And this is pretty much just like if you want to play a few matches and there's a couple tournaments that you can play. But after that point, it's done. I mean, Mario gets super big. Big surprise, he does that now. But besides that, I mean, there was nothing that separated it from anything. And really, like TJ said, they subtracted so much from it.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, we're back.
Your video cut out for just a second. But it's okay, we're back.
My phone was asking me if I wanted to update it.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Denied.
Good call. Good call.
Mine's been asking me that for the last month, and I keep saying later.
Me too. It's always at an inconvenient time.
Yes,
always.
It's the problem. It's a problem. It's like, just ask me in the morning when I'm not doing anything at all.
I know. Does it not know I'm in the middle of a podcast?
No,
How dare it?
It should. They're smart. They're smartphones, right?
How dare they?
I know.
See, my phone likes to just do it in the middle of the night when my alarm is supposed to go off, and then it just decides to just skip over the alarm. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, the rumor at this point, again, and I guess we should probably get back on track with that.
Yes.
4 games potentially being ported over to the NX. I think we are all into a certain level of agreement that if it's the 4 games we've already discussed, they are groundbreaking titles. They're going to be just fine on the NX, but hopefully we see a huge lineup. Yep. And hopefully before I even say that, hopefully we know what this console even is. If it's even a console. Who knows? Maybe it's a choose-your-own-adventure book. I don't know.
One to 2 pieces of real information straight from Nintendo, I would be satisfied. Up until E3, at least.
E3 is what, 60 days away?
Not that long. Not that long.
So we're getting close.
Yes.
We're getting close. But speaking of groundbreaking, revolutionary titles, let's talk about Miitomo.
Segue.
Miitomo. We talked about Miitomo last week. Miitomo has been out for what, 2 weeks now?
Yes.
3 weeks?
Here in the US at least.
Yeah, so it's been out in Japan a little bit longer. I downloaded the Japanese version, and now I'm on the US version, which is identical in every way, shape, and form. But the big news that we just heard is that apparently, according to SurveyMonkey, Nintendo is bringing in $40,000 a day on Miitomo in-app purchases. And I initially, when I first read that report, I was in shock because I'm like, who would pay money for this? But then I think 6 hours later, I spent money in Miitomo.
Oh, this is my favorite part of this. Right when we recorded our last newscast, the very first episode, Jason was teasing me for saying that I didn't spend money, and he's like, "Don't worry, it's going to happen soon." And then it was that very same day, that couple hours later. That was when you downloaded, between us, the very first purchase on Miitomo.
That's true, but a couple hours after that, you came in with a new cupcake hat, and I said, how did you get the coins for that?
I made a lot of new friends, and I
You
got
made
coins.
That's not how you get coins. It's not how you get coins. So I guess we understand how this is happening, but yeah. 40 grand a day supposedly they're bringing
Gotta get
in.
that ninja sword, baby.
Yes.
Did you have to spend money on that, by the way?
I did not, but I will confess that there was nothing appealing to me in the initial release to make me spend any of my tickets or coins. And they kind of throw them at you at the very beginning. To entice
like a
you.
drug dealer.
I'd racked up like 40 tickets, and I literally went through 40 tickets, and I got one sword, and then I spent, I think it's 500 of those coins, the in-game currency, and I got one more sword. So I just eked by not having to spend any money.
Now, did you see that there are videos floating around made by people? They post them on through Twitter and Reddit and everything.
Evilos did it.
Yeah, Evilos did it, and that's the one that I pointed out to Jason to get the ninja sword.
And I did see his. I wish I had seen his earlier. It might not have taken me 40 tickets.
I got mine on the second try.
Thanks
with
to
Evilos' video.
Yes, yeah. So now that we know that the videos are floating around, go check those out on Reddit, and people are posting them on Twitter too, because it's highly worth it. You'll save tickets, you'll save coins.
Now, the really funny thing to me, I click on there at least once a day to do, your daily business on there. And Jason was in my room when I got in there today.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And for some reason, you were in fishnet stockings and pink underwear.
Yep.
You should hear him giggling when he is purchasing these things. He saved up money for like 3 days.
I have the sword on my back still, though.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's still there.
Money for 3 days in the game to get those fishnet stockings, and then I hear this. Oh yeah, I can finally get them, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's the fishnet stockings, isn't it?
I played this game very differently than a lot of people.
I've noticed that.
I have the most fun in this game, just doing ridiculous things,
goofing off. Yeah.
There's too many moments in my life where I have to be serious.
Yeah.
And people are taking their avatars super seriously. And I would just rather be a prostitute. A sword-wielding prostitute.
On Miitomo make it fun for everybody else, too.
It's fun. It's such a blast.
There are only, I think, 3 people I know who just kind of goof off in there, and you're one of them. And that's why I tend to go to these people's houses a little bit more often to interact with them. Because not only are their avatars or me's really funny looking, not funny, cute too, but they say the funniest things.
Alex Illist. That's all I'm going to say. Alex Illist. You might know him from MTV.
Yes.
This guy is amazing. We've been communicating with this guy forever, and he has probably the most insanely amazing me in Miitomo that I've ever met.
He is one of the 3 that I was talking about, by the way.
He is my favorite character in that game. I go over to his house.
I'm a little heartbroken here.
I'm sorry. I go over to his room all the time just to hear him just say his. I can't say what his greeting is.
Yeah, it's inappropriate.
It's not a family-friendly thing. But I go to his room just to hear him say it, because it's every time he says it, it's so funny.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I might not take it exactly like you, but I have fun with it. I wear things that I wouldn't wear in real life.
You would wear a cupcake hat.
I'd like to think that I would wear a cupcake hat.
You would totally wear a cupcake hat.
I project all of my inner happiness onto this me.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's this amazing representation of who I am as a person. And that's why it's the cupcake hat.
Lauren, when I see your Miitomo it's exactly how I think of you.
Really? Okay, good.
And when I see yours, Jason, it's exactly how I never want to think of it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Another great quote by TJ.
I got to make sure that if you're watching the video podcast, I have to make sure I put a photo of my me on the screen.
And what are those great poses where you're like laying down on the ground?
My tongue sticking out. Like,
Oh, yeah. It would be a shame to deprive the people at home from seeing that. If you are listening to this on iTunes or some other non-video form, just switch over right now just to see that picture of Amiibo Jason.
Follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at Amiibo Jason. I will add you as a friend on Miitomo.
And you need to do this.
You can see me in all my glory.
It is completely worth it. Totally.
It's a lot of fun.
So anything else regarding this really amazing new app that Nintendo's given us?
80% of the money is coming from Apple users, iOS. 20% is coming from Android. That doesn't shock me.
No.
Apple people apparently have more money to blow. I'm not saying I do at all. I was ashamed when I actually bought money, like in-game currency. It's the first time.
No regrets, though.
The first time beside Badge Arcade that I've ever bought anything in app.
I have got to admit, it's not about apps, but I play a lot of like gaming online and avatar sites. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I've told you this, but I've poured thousands of dollars into this over the last, I would say, 10 years.
That's so sad.
It's not sad. Hey, everybody has their hobbies. I don't go out. I don't do sports events. I don't go out partying. I don't do a lot of clothes shopping. But
yeah, not.
but I do love spending money on avatars and things like Miitomo. So that's my it's not even a guilty pleasure. It's just a plain pleasure.
One criticism / complaint about Miitomo.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it is so intrinsically linked to Facebook and Twitter, to where that's the only way you can connect with somebody unless you happen to be in the same room.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that was your biggest complaint the first day you joined.
But that's what they want, though.
I get it. I get it.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're farming all this information. I have no doubt, because if you read the disclaimer about the kind of information that they're taking, like on Twitter and Facebook, we know what they're doing. I mean, companies have been doing this forever. I mean, information is very, very valuable.
Yes.
So I completely get that.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you as well. I wish that there was a better way to do it. I wish I could give my friend a code and say, here you go.
Yeah.
You know, put it in at the same time. I did try the in the same room thing, and it was easy.
It was.
It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
But I only tried it with Lauren.
That was okay.
She was the only person I know that played the game. So
I made my wife download it onto her phone so that I could unlock that achievement.
you wanted those platinum coins, didn't you?
Yeah.
I did. And I wanted to see how it worked because I had already connected with people through Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously most people probably have either a Twitter account or a Facebook account. But a lot of the connections that I have are people who don't really care about social media and who it's not convenient to get into the same location with, but I sure would love to have them pop into my Miitomo room occasionally. So.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. It seems odd that there isn't some proprietary Nintendo way of being able to do it, even if it was a clunky code.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Maybe that will evolve as the program evolves.
I hope so, because everything is more connected now with my Nintendo. So, and Miiverse too. So I'm really hoping that these kind of come together a little bit more to make it easier for people to connect more through apps and stuff. I mean, this is just the first app, so like you said, there's still room for a lot of growth here.
I have a feeling we're going to see updates pretty frequently for this title.
Yeah.
I went on today, and pretty much everybody who I follow religiously has fallen off the map almost entirely.
Yeah.
Because people have said it's not that we don't like this game. It's fun, but we're kind of bored of the content you've offered to us at this point. We've taken silly photos with our Miis as much time as we can. We've answered hundreds of questions at this point. We've already played Mii Drop. It's okay. I wish there needs to be more games besides Mii Drop.
Yeah. But people rely on this kind of stuff on Facebook as it is. I mean, if you think about it, the interactions and everything, you can be silly. You can post GIFs. You can post jokes and memes on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we already have these other platforms to do this silly stuff on. This one is just a new form of that, I'd say.
Well, throw me a mini game. I would love if I could just, like, if I was playing a game with TJ in Miitomo, maybe we could play, like, a game of checkers or chess or just something Nintendo, like something silly that we could just take turns playing, like a Words with Friends type of thing. It would be interesting if we could have a little bit more interactivity with our friends in the game besides just, you know, answering questions about them and feeding them worthless candy. But which I have like 600 pieces at this point.
Everybody's so upset about the candy. I think you were trying to figure out what the candy was.
I'm like, what does this candy do?
And nobody knew. And
can I sell it?
When everybody finds out, everyone's just like, oh, really? That's it?
Stupid candy.
It's disappointing.
You know, I have a curiosity about how people are using this app because, you know, you guys know me. I've been pretty involved with doing things with my Miis for a long time. And I tried to maintain 2 Mii personas for all the shows, basically. So for me, it is a new tool in my arsenal to develop Mii-related content with Mii Photo. And I love that. Yeah. But there's not too many people who are in the same situation as me. I can't even think of another person who has characters that are me that are constantly generating content where it would be utilized in that way. So I think for me, this is great.
Yeah.
for me, this is great. But I wonder what other people are doing with it. I love that I see random me's popping up all the time in Me Photo, and some of the creative ways that people are integrating them into it is awesome.
Yeah.
It's actually the kind of thing that I've been attempting to do through more difficult channels for a long time. So this kind of opens a few more doors and getting my TJ and Dark TJ into places that it might be difficult to get them.
Yes.
I guess we'll see at this point if we are going to see this kind of money coming in consistently for Nintendo. I think this is more of... Oh, I love it.
Oh gosh, there they are.
I know you can't see it, but I am holding up
mine's over
mine
there.
as
Mine's
well.
over there. Oh, I should have brought it over.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Oh.
But I guess we'll see at this point. I think that that $40,000 number is probably pretty inflated for the first few weeks. So I'm guessing it's going to take a dip until version 2 comes out. But I guess we'll see.
Or until they let you me drop a Link costume. I think that would be.
Oh yeah, then I'm screwed.
Cash.
Don't even say that.
That might be the only thing. Either some Link gear or some Little Mac boxing gloves. That's what it would take for me to start dropping some real money.
Well, if Nintendo's listening to this, if you want money from TJ.
Yes. If you want money from me, oh gosh, anything.
Princess Peach.
Oh gosh, Princess Peach.
Oh my god, could you imagine if they did Animal Crossing hats?
Actually, my first thought was Animal Crossing. Then you said Princess Peach, but Animal Crossing. I mean, we already saw Animal Crossing hats in other things. Oh, what am I thinking of? I'm
Me
thinking
Plaza.
I'm thinking of the Me Plaza. There's the Isabelle and the Tom Nook hat. And if they can just bring that stuff over to Miitomo, I'd be so happy.
I'd be shaking my head the whole time while I was spending the money, just like I do in Badge Arcade. Every time I spend any money in Badge Arcade, I'm just shaking my head.
Do you have a pit in your stomach that's like this little bit of guilt, like I shouldn't be doing this, but I need it so bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a 30-year-old something grown man. What business do I have collecting these silly little things? And the truth is, I don't even really want them. I don't even really use them. But for some reason, I see, oh, wow, sweet. It's a Little Mac 8-bit punching guy. I gotta get that one. And then I accidentally knock 3 more in, and I'm only 1 away from completing the collection.
And you gotta get
I want
it.
that one, but I'm like, I'm just 1 away. Stupid thing.
We're going to have like a dedicated Badge Arcade segment on the newscast
someday.
at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So.
We'll make sure you're there, TJ.
I honestly wish, and this is not a joke, I wish that I never knew it existed, and I wish that I never downloaded it.
It's the only thing I really use my 3DS for at this point, besides what our next topic is, and we'll get into that in a second. But I am pretty much obsessed with Badge Arcade.
Badge Arcade. That we have Badge Arcade news on Twitter. We were.
Oh my gosh, Lauren, how have you ever gotten 40 anything?
Oh gosh, that was.
I got 62.
Oh, no one cares about that.
Because I usually get like on my best 12 or 17.
It was on my European console, and it was we didn't have any of those puzzles over here, and it was one of those practice catchers where you have just the whole screen is just filled with very small badges, and any little movement will just knock all of them over. So I was just able to get a ton of them at once, and it kept refreshing the screen so all those badges would reappear again. And
so I'm trying to do the math. I'm like, Lauren must be a Badge Arcade god, because you have to get like 10 plus. Each one. I'm like, there's not even 10 on the screen. There's no conceivable way that you could get 40 out of this.
It was one catcher that if you hit it in the right spot, you got like 20 in one.
I have not yet seen that though in the U.S. Badge Arcade.
Oh, they don't want to do that.
They don't want to do. They're
That's
not
too many
do
free
that.
plays.
Yeah, right. But that was heaven that day. I'll never forget it.
But speaking of addicting 3DS stuff, that actually moves us into our next topic. So that brings us on to my next addiction right now on the 3DS, and that is Super Nintendo games on the new 3DS. And TJ, I don't know this. Do you have a new 3DS?
I do have a new 3DS.
I'm assuming you have the Link one.
I knew it. I knew it.
Actually, it's one of those areas where I was extremely stupid, and I had to get both of these.
It's kind of funny you say that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm in the exact same boat. Hold them up there again. One more time.
Oh, let's compare.
We're brothers.
Oh, look those beauties.
Oh, yeah.
Except, what's this? I got another one.
That's not Link.
I know that. I do have the standard new 3DS. I may have too many 3DSs at this point. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 new 3DSs?
I only buy them when they create a Zelda themed one, and this is the first time I think, if memory serves, where there have been the same incarnation of the system where they had 2 different Link ones.
Yeah.
And I bought that Majora's Mask one during that insane amiibo hunting craze.
Yeah.
It happened, and there were like 1 per store. I called stores for months because I needed to get it. And then they released that other one, and I waited for a while, and I hemmed and hawed. And it has no place in my life. I don't need it at all.
But it's nice to have.
Yep, it's nice to have. Now TJ and Dark TJ can each have their own 3DS.
Congrats.
It's like the badge arcade. You feel you need it, but you know there's really no use for it. You're not going to put it to use, you know?
Yeah, that's not really my style. I don't really enjoy things just to have them.
Yeah.
They need to serve some kind of purpose in my life, and there are some things that there is value to it, having it up on the wall and seeing it, because it reminds me of that time in my life, and that brings me joy. But to have something to just throw in a drawer, to have it to collect dust,
you can do what Lauren does.
What do I do?
And you could take out 3 to 4 3DSs every day to play Badge Arcade on each one.
I did do that because my daughter is really into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'd let her kind of poke through it and see how many she could get. And I would actually use her haphazard techniques on my test systems so that I could figure out how to do it for reals.
Oh my God.
And she had some good instincts about it. There were some times where she taught me how to get some badges I couldn't figure out just because.
There you go.
Yeah,
just little kid instincts.
I was gonna say, thinking outside the box, she has these gut feelings there.
You have to get a Japanese region 3DS.
Yeah.
The badges they have if you spend a certain amount of money in the Badge Arcade, you get these like limited edition bunny badges that you can only get if you spend money, which
crazy.
I'm an idiot and got every single one because they're amazing in every way. But yeah, you can get a European version, which is different, the Japanese version, which is different, and the US version. I mean, it's kind of fun to like kind of compare catchers every single day.
We actually do that because we have a bunch from all the different regions, so we'll play them all together like that.
I can see that. I keep hoping that Nintendo is gonna reach the point where they understand that region locking is kind of an outdated way of doing things.
You could always unlock your 3DS.
Oh, no, I can't do that. Otherwise, you can't have the themes on there, and the themes are half the fun of the badges.
I don't condone that, by the way. I do not condone that.
Right,
Nintendo, if you're watching this, I do not condone that.
Okay.
Bad. Don't do it.
How do we jump from the SNES games on the 3DS to Badge Arcade again?
I don't know. But speaking of unlocking, you could always just throw SNES games on it if you unlock it too. But don't do it. It's bad.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Super Nintendo Virtual Console's finally on the new 3DS, to the delight of many and to the anger of even more who don't own a new 3DS.
Yeah.
The games are expensive. $10 for Earthbound, which it's $2 extra if you want Earthbound, which they're gouging you.
It's $2 extra, but I was just like, really? All the other games are going to be $7.99 and Earthbound is $9.99.
Of course it is. They know what they have.
You actually did think too, and I thought you were right about this, that Zelda: A Link to the Past was also going to be priced at $9.99.
I thought for sure.
I was a little surprised it wasn't.
But I am right now sitting on Earthbound,
Super
Metroid, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World, and what's the last one?
Did you get Donkey Kong?
A Link to the Past.
Oh, okay. I just got Earthbound, started it the other day, and I was having so much fun playing that. Just there's something about starting it up again and getting to name all the characters, even though I always go with Ness, Paula, Pooh, and Jeff anyway. I get to name all the characters and just see the opening scenes, and there's that bit of nostalgia in me just kind of like comes alive again, and it's really exciting.
So TJ, are you going to double or triple dip into Virtual Console on the new 3DS?
Yeah.
I am not, because I have already double and triple dipped on all of those titles before in other ways, and I have definitely paid my last Virtual Console repurchase. And even Twilight Princess, I'm not buying Twilight Princess HD until that thing drops to $10 because I've already bought the game at full retail price twice.
But what about the Wolf Link amiibo?
I'm gonna buy it as a standalone.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I definitely need some of that Wolf Link amiibo. But I bought Twilight Princess for the GameCube, and I bought it again for the Wii. I'm definitely not going to buy it for the third system in a row at full retail price. I understand that more work went into it, and I think it's a great purchase for people who missed out on it.
Yeah.
But for people who've already played through it twice, I'm not their audience for that.
Yeah, I'm the audience for that.
I am
And
too.
I feel the same way with A Link to the Past, which that game, perhaps more so than any other Zelda game, really transports me to a time where I was a child and I was the same age as Link was during that game, and it really captured my imagination, and it delighted me so much that I easily dropped it when I think it came out for the SP with the Four Swords Adventures, and I bought it for that, and I played through it, and I loved it, and it reminded me of my childhood, and I didn't have a single regret, and the game was just as great as I remembered. I bought it again through Virtual Console on, I think, the 3DS and the Wii U. So I'm definitely not going to buy it again for the 3DS. It's already on there. Maybe I don't have the perfect frame match, but...
I don't blame you because, I mean, even with Earthbound, I had it on two or three other consoles before that. But the one hook that got me was the ability to take these games with me wherever I went. And I like that ability to know that I could be anywhere and play Earthbound.
I completely understand that,
Yeah.
and that's actually why I didn't bat a single eye about Hyrule Warriors, because I did buy it for the Wii U, and I kept thinking, while I loved it on the Wii U, I never had time to play it, and I did not get to explore it to the full extent that I would have enjoyed. And since buying it on the 3DS, I never have a lot of time to play video games, but if something's rendering, a video is rendering out, or I have 10 minutes to wait somewhere, I can pop it open and play it.
Yeah.
And so that does have added value. But in some ways, these Virtual Console titles with the pricing scheme, I personally find not only to be pretty steep, but downright disrespectful to people who have been supporting Nintendo for a long time, because those are the only people who are going to buy this.
Yeah.
You're not attracting any new customers with these titles. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
People are not going to be buying these consoles for the Virtual Console access. So you are knowingly asking people who have already bought these 2, 3, 4 times to buy them again. I'm over that. And what I'm really hoping is that the NX does away with that, where they can see, oh yeah, this guy's bought A Link to the Past 7 times. We can just transfer that data over to the NX.
That's actually a fair request, I think. I really do think, with everything being so connected, that we should see a little bit more fairness brought to light.
How many times should we buy the same game? Seriously.
Yeah.
I want to go one step further than that.
Let's
I have a dream that the NX is going to bring a Netflix-style subscription service to Nintendo and Super Nintendo games.
Oh, now you're talking.
Heck, even Nintendo 64 games at this point. Put your entire catalog up. $20 a month. I would pay $20 a month. I'd pay probably... let's say they said, okay, it's $5 a month for the NES library, another $5 for Super Nintendo, another $10 for the N64. I would pay $20 a month.
Yeah.
I think everybody in their right mind would pay $20 a month. And I think they wouldn't even cancel it, even if they're not using it, because they just have... It's the same thing with Netflix.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know anybody that cancels Netflix. Even if they don't use it, they're like, well, it's there if I need it.
I downgraded a couple years back when they upped their prices so much when it came to mailing out the DVDs.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's no way I would ever cancel that instant streaming.
I just want to see a all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-play, I guess in this case, style of Virtual Console. And I think that's something that's not completely crazy. I know PlayStation's attempting to do something similar to that with PlayStation Now, even though they're not doing it in the right way, in my opinion. But I think Nintendo could be the people to pioneer it. I mean, they have the back catalog. I mean, the NES library, it's like 50 kilobytes a piece for each game?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be all that
as far as
taxing.
space, that's not really an issue with anything Super Nintendo or earlier. And I would even imagine you can probably get anything 64 on there.
Yeah.
There might be some coding involved, which means that there's definitely some money that they would have to spend as an investment, but I think you're onto something, because people would for sure do that. If all of a sudden you had at your fingertips at any moment any Nintendo game, you'd gladly pony up a annual or monthly subscription fee for that.
Totally. Yep.
Crossing my fingers. But yeah, Super Nintendo Virtual Console is currently on the new 3DS only.
Yep.
At this point, expect new titles soon. We just got our third wave of titles at this point. So
good games.
I don't think there's anything that has been announced that's coming anytime soon. I think everything that's been announced has been released the US.
Yes, all the waves have passed.
Capcom, I think, announced that... No, it's Konami. It's Konami or Capcom, I can't remember. They announced they are doing a bunch of stuff in Japan for Super Nintendo, but nothing yet here.
Not yet.
Crossing our fingers. So, all right.
Okay.
We have made it through our topic list, which is great.
So that means we get to do our famous speed round.
I was going to say the Amiibo News speed round.
No,
it's the Nintendo.
We're past that.
the Nintendo News speed round.
Yeah.
So, we have asked our Twitter followers for questions about anything and everything Nintendo and Amiibo related, and we had a lot of responses this last week. So I'm going to go through the list.
Yes.
I'm going to let you read some too.
Okay,
and
point out which ones.
I can do that.
Yes.
TJ, we're going to let you answer first because you are a guest. But again, it's our speed round, so we're going to try to go as quick as we can.
We'll try, but we always fail, so don't feel bad if you go
Lightning style.
This is from Bitman64. What was your first game you've ever played?
For me, it was, my first Nintendo game was Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt. But my parents owned an Atari, so Space Invaders would be the first game that I ever played. But I was a little too young to really understand what was going on, so I would say the first one that I connected to as a gamer would be Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, me, first one I ever played where I actually could control on the screen was the original Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
Yes, that. Like I always say, some of my very first memories, I was only 2 or 3 years old, was Legend of Zelda. Other than that, the first game that I was able to play when I was just the right age, I think, and it was really coming together for me, was Dr. Mario. Love it.
I had a Sega Master System before I had an NES. I don't remember any games I played on it. I remember it breaking and being very sad, but I don't remember any games. So the first game that I remember like vividly is Mario Bros. Like everybody else in Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
So anything NES, I have vivid memories of.
Same, yeah.
So, all right. This next one we're going to take a little bit more time on.
Okay.
Because I wanted to talk about this anyway, and I kind of skipped past it. This is from Artistic Doodle. So this is Jennifer, one of our awesome followers, by the way. In honor of Animal Crossing's 15th anniversary, what are some of your most cherished memories with the series since we posed the question a couple nights ago on the Amiibo Jason Twitter account.
Yes.
So, do you have any cherished memories from Animal Crossing?
I do. When Animal Crossing was first announced, I bought it for one reason, and it was that it was a first-party Nintendo title. I knew nothing else about it other than that fact, and it was also my first year that I moved away from home. And so I was literally doing the exact same thing as that character at that exact same time. Like, I played the game in my parents' house where I got on the train. I got to the first point where I could save it, and then I moved into my own apartment in downtown Chicago and left my family for the first time. So in some really odd parallel way, that game was magical for me. It tapped into this experience that I was really having in this game, which I found oddly therapeutic. I'm sure everybody goes through their own experience when they leave home for the first time in their late teens or early 20s or 30s or whenever it happens to be. For me, I was in my late teens, and it was very powerful. And something as simple, my life was so stressful and so chaotic with an overflow college schedule and working 2 jobs full-time and then also part-time, that to sit back and catch a fish or track down these bugs or these little Nintendo consoles. Once I realized that those Nintendo consoles were inside that game, I made it my mission to line my walls and collect as many as I could. And that it was so impactful for me that I have bought every subsequent Animal Crossing title, and none of them really resonated with me in the same way as the first one, except maybe the most recent incarnation as New Leaf.
New Leaf, yeah.
But I will always have cherished Animal Crossing memories. It's a game that's hard to describe as being fun. It's like, wait, what are you doing? You're doing chores to pay off this house from some money-grubbing raccoon in a village full of gibberish talking animals, and you're tracking down bugs and fossils. It's really hard to paint that as being an enjoyable experience, and yet I cannot deny that anytime the game was on, I instantly felt my levels of stress diminishing.
TJ, you have the most magical way of bringing video games to life. And I'm not talking about your descriptions of them, but video games actually, like, they come to life, like with your childhood and Zelda, and you with your passion for your career, and now the parallels with Animal Crossing. It's just amazing to me. I've actually never seen video games come to life through a person before, like with you. So I'm fascinated by that. It's very, very cool.
I've always been appreciative for the time that I was born, because Nintendo was made for me, and it continues to be made for me. I was born at a time where I can play every single Zelda game.
Yes.
And I couldn't imagine if I was born today if I would be like my daughter. I try to have her play the original Zelda, and in some ways she doesn't even notice the difference in the experience. She immediately identifies that it's Link, and she immediately wants to play. So that's great, but I grew up with it, and it grew up with me. So there are a lot of parallels in that experience, and for that I just count myself very blessed.
That's awesome. I love that.
I think I better go next, because I know you're going to want to have a little bit of time on this one too.
Go ahead.
I'm in the same boat. I picked up Animal Crossing the day it came out. I had no idea what to expect, besides it's a Nintendo game, and I loved GameCube at that time. If it was on GameCube, back in the day, if you are older, you will know that GameCube and PlayStation 2 and Xbox were all out at the same time. In many cases, you would see the same game on all three platforms. I had all three systems, but if it was on GameCube, I bought it for GameCube. That's how big of a GameCube fan I was. So I picked up Animal Crossing. I had no idea what to expect. I discovered Mr. Rossetti very quickly, and I thought he was the greatest thing on the planet.
You are the only person I know who has ever had an appreciation.
He was so
for
funny.
him.
He was so
I'm with
funny.
you, Jason.
Oh
Hilarious.
no!
But yeah, I think it made me use the GameCube in ways I've never used the GameCube before. Like, I never thought that a game... I have never played Metal Gear Solid up to that point, because I know it did a lot of stuff like that too with Psycho Mantis, but I never had a game that would, like, punish me for turning it off or tell me that I'm doing something wrong. I never had a game that I could plug in my Game Boy Advance and go to an island and collect fruit and then go back home. I mean, that was revolutionary. And
innovative.
I bought the e-reader, and I could buy packs of cards, and I could get NES games. I think I got Balloon Fight from the e-reader. I'm almost positive I got it from there. But you could just do so many interesting, innovative things with Animal Crossing, and I had no idea that games could do that. And games could be so much fun doing stupid, kind of, I don't want to call it stupid, but just tasks like collecting fossils or digging holes or paying off your house. I had no idea it could be that fun.
Yeah.
But I honestly think Animal Crossing pushed the boundaries into what games could be. And the e-reader was very cool, and I think the e-reader was kind of the original version of Amiibo. Like, it was a way that you could bring things from the outside world into your game, something that you could hold in your hand, and I just thought that was really cool. So That's where I was.
Yeah.
What about you?
Me? Oh gosh, some of this might be repeating past stories that I've told on either Newscast or on Twitter or elsewhere, so I apologize.
You tell the story. I'm going to get water.
Okay.
I need water.
So I apologize in advance. Oh, whoop, hold on, sorry, you can't see this. Jason, there you go. Okay. For me, Animal Crossing has always been about my family and the connections that I've had with my family through Animal Crossing. I come from a family of gamers. My mom was the original gamer. She was in her early 30s, and she raised me as a gamer. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, and we all fell in love with Animal Crossing at the same time, all thanks to my youngest sister, who is 6 years younger than me. She's the first one who heard about Animal Crossing. She asked for it for one of her birthdays when she was in grade school. I was in high school at the time. My mom did this elaborate scavenger hunt to find the Animal Crossing game. Kathleen found the game, and she played her heart out on it. And I had no idea what it was at that time. I hadn't heard about it before. So here I am learning about Animal Crossing through my youngest sister's eyes. And she loved it so much, and it was obvious that she did, and she kind of ringed us all in. And that town, oh man, it was full, because it was all 4 of the houses were full. All of us were playing, and we had to battle each other to get time on that game. And I just remember at the time I was a senior in high school, and I raced home because I had senior privilege. So that meant that I got home 2 hours earlier than my younger sisters. And my mom, of course, is like, go for it. You can play it. I know you're really excited about this. I've had all day because I've been at home. I've been able to play this at home while you've been at school anyway. So I just remember coming home from class thinking, I have 2 hours, this all to myself. And I of course, had to leave certain things around town for my sisters to do. I tried to be as fair as possible. But the game has always been about playing with my sisters and my mom. And to this day, we all played New Leaf. We were all addicted to New Leaf. My mom still plays New Leaf religiously every day since its release.
Yes.
And she plays over 2 hours, I think, every day playing New Leaf because she is attached to these characters. I mean, she tells me stories about what's going on in these characters' heads. And I'm like, my sisters and I are trying to tell her, Mom, that's not how technology works. It's just not like that. But we don't want to break her heart at the same time. So for me, the Animal Crossing, the core of it has always been connecting with my family, and then thanks to New Leaf and even Wild, all the way back to Wild World, where you could have it on your DS or your DS Lite. It's about being able to connect with other people and friends all over the world. When I was able to reach that achievement in Animal Crossing, where I think you've had over 100 visitors, and I was like, yes, this is what it's about. So yeah, that's what it's always been for me. It's the nostalgia of being connected with my family and friends.
Hey, can I ask you guys what your profession was in the first Animal Crossing game?
Oh gosh.
Like, how did you turn bells?
Oh yeah. I can't remember what I did because I remember I paid off my house in practically record time because I found some way that I could easily exploit bells. And I thought it was some fruit exploit. I can't remember what it was, but I remember that somebody was watching me play it and they said, what you're doing is like cheapening the experience of Animal Crossing. I'm like, no, I already got the biggest house in the game like 3 days in. But I'm pretty sure it had something to do with fruit. I think, it was the island. Yeah, I had access to the island.
Yeah.
And you got some rare, expensive fruits. So I would just make repeat trips back and forth and do it that way.
I had a similar experience where, everybody's collecting shells before you have any tools. But once I could get all the fruits, I was like, I'm going to become a farmer and I'm going to earn an honest living. And then I discovered this island exploit and I'm like, forget this. I'm going to become a pirate. So I became a billionaire by just exploiting.
I love it.
That's amazing.
The handheld device and the system. It was amazing to me.
Wow, my profession was not as grandiose as you guys were both pirates. I was a simple fisherman.
A simple fisherman.
I was but a fisherman. A fisherman and of course a farmer too. I did the whole fruit thing. But the fruit thing was harder because like I said, I had to share with my mom and my sister. So I couldn't gather all the fruit for myself.
Right.
So that meant I relied a lot on getting the fish. And oh man, I had days where I was just getting those red snappers left and right. And red snappers I believe were worth 3,000 bells. It was a good amount of bells. And there was another one, I think it was the zebra fish. There were quite a few fish that were worth a lot, and I'd have very good days where I would just rake in those expensive fish and I was just bring in those bells. Oh gosh, those were the days. But yeah, nothing as fancy as you guys, you pirates.
I gotta
Lauren,
say,
am I remembering correctly that you are not a big fan of Cap'n?
He is my least favorite character in that game.
I had to spend a lot of time with Cap'n as a pirate. So we spent a lot of time on the high seas, and not only did I grow to really love his swinging sea shanties,
yes.
but I invented my own harmonies to most of them because of how much time I spent hearing them.
No.
So me and Cap'n are like this.
Oh gosh, so basically what you're telling me right now is that you're my enemy. Oh, TJ. Oh, that's so funny.
I just think it's sad that this character is one that rubs you the wrong way.
Besides Agnes, Captain is the only consistent character on Animal Crossing who has ever made me visually angry before. I'm just like,
he's a little creepy.
That's so offensive. You're breaking the creeps from the real life into Animal Crossing.
I never got that vibe from him. He always seemed like an old sea dog.
Yeah.
Well, not a dog, literally.
No.
A
He's
salty sea dog.
He's technically a
Salty frog.
yokai.
Oh, yokai. Yeah.
He's technically a yokai.
He had a lot of charm to me.
Yeah.
Agnes, I never met before. Like I never even knew of Agnes before you and your stories of how much you love her and how her color coordination is perfectly suited to every town that you make, no matter what the theme is. So thank you for introducing me to this wonderful character. I just pray for the day when she shows up in my town.
This completely backfired. Yep. And the worst part of this is that TJ, you have been around so long with us that you were there during Customs for a Cure when you heard about Agnes for the first time, and you were the first person to create basically this like weird Agnes and Lauren fan art. Oh my gosh, I still have that, and do you know that I have it saved on my computer, and I go and I look at that once in a while, because even though it has Agnes in there, I have to be able to appreciate it, because it seriously looks like you put a lot of time and thought into
I'll put it up on the screen right now, too, by the way. So.
It was funny.
Before we get off the topic.
It was actually Zach. Zach was like, hey, so anybody listening out there, go ahead and Photoshop something. And I happened to be open on a Smash Supremacy project, and it was very convenient for me to do in that moment. I was like, yeah, I got a couple minutes for this.
Perfect.
No wonder.
I'm glad that I could contribute to the online legacy of Lauren and her best buddy, Agnes.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. I was wondering how you got that up so quickly, because I'm like, this looks like it was very time consuming, and TJ just threw it together. So it, if anything, it just made me believe in your skills even more.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. If anybody listening or watching wants to send Lauren any Agnes fan art, you can tweet her at Happily Candied on Twitter. You'll find it there.
This is like the 5th time he's flooded my notifications feed with Agnes photos.
It's the best way to decorate her sugary corner of the world.
Oh,
very true.
You're so great.
I have to bring this up before we get off the Animal Crossing topic, though. I need to tell you about my new Leaf bell racket that we had going.
Bell racket?
Oh, yes.
So my friend Dez and I, we found a way that we could dupe items in Animal Crossing New Leaf, and it wasn't anything that was like wildly crazy. You would turn off the console right before like you were leaving your friend's town, and supposedly if you did it at the right time, it's not supposedly, it worked, you would keep the item and your friend would have the item.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting a set of 7-Eleven furniture, like the entire complete set that was only in Japan.
Yeah.
And we got one set, we duped it about 10 times. We put postings on Reddit saying, do you guys want 7-Eleven furniture? Come and get it. And then they would leave like hundreds of thousands of bells in our towns. So from one night of doing it, we had like 6 or 7 million bells collected. It was pretty great.
Animal Crossing cheater.
It's not a cheater.
It's a dupe. You're duping items to get money.
I wasn't using a Game Shark. It's an exploit.
Oh, I would.
You know, people were saying that because of that dupe exploit, that the new form of currency in New Leaf is actually villagers. So
really?
Because it's the one commodity that you can't buy and you can't duplicate.
Yes.
That you trade villagers. That's so fascinating to me.
It is. There are lots of communities online where they're set up specifically for villager trading, and even me with my friends, I would post the villagers that I want, and you basically try to swap them at the right times, and that is so true. It's a good way, because I, like everybody, I have my favorite villagers, and I would do just about anything just to have them, all my favorites, in one place.
It's too bad that you can't have a village of nothing but Agnes.
Maybe Game Shark. I'll have to figure that out.
If anyone can, with you two combined, I'm sure you can make
Let's figure it out. All right, let's move on to one more question, since we kind of covered this one a little too long at this point. So this is from Matt. I'm curious about this one. Do you think if the Wii U was branded the Wii 2, would it have sold more consoles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a very strong opinion about this. I think Nintendo is continuing to mismanage the titling of their systems. And I thought that the Wii U would correct the problem, and they would have to see how, by naming a system with the same prefix as every accessory for the Wii, that there would be some market confusion. Mm-hmm. And like you have Wii Fit, Mario Kart Wii, Wii Sports, Wii U. It just Wii Play, Wii Music. It sounds like something that is in no way distinguished from the rest of their catalog. It could be just a game or an accessory. And it was a big mistake. I think it definitely hurt the system early on. But they made the exact same mistake when they released the new 3DS.
Yep.
I couldn't believe
I couldn't
it.
believe that. That blew
It seems
my
like a
mind
joke.
because not only are you not distinguishing it with any kind of unique name, but a new 3DS or an unopened, not new 3DS is still a new 3DS.
Yes.
So when you're trying to identify a product online and you look it up, it's describing the product's condition.
Yes.
Is it new or used? So then you have a new 3DS that's not a new 3DS or a new 3DS. and it blew my mind. I cannot even believe that was a mistake that they made again. I heard a Nintendo, I think it was a Treehouse employee try to describe why that happened, and it was because the word that's new in Japan has a different connotation. It's not just new. It's new and exotic and
Well, then change the name for localization.
Yes.
They did it with the Famicom.
And so
Yes.
The American localizers were trying to explain it doesn't have that same connotation here. Here it's just new.
New.
It's not something special. It's not something magical. But unless it is in opposition to the original word, they try to do as direct a translation as they can. In this way, it was a horrible mistake.
Wow. I'm a little surprised that with the heads up that they got, I'm sure that there was plenty of feedback from overseas, the other regions saying, this isn't going to work. If they're straightforward like that, to me, it's an easily understood explanation of the differences between languages. But that's fascinating. The problem that I had with that was a lot of people, especially parents, would come to me and they'd ask me for advice about games and through the 3DS system in general. And I had to explain to them what was out and describing the difference between a 3DS and a new 3DS, and then going into detail and using those names in there appropriately was extremely difficult because these poor parents have no idea what they're getting into. And I mean, when they go to the store, are they really going to take that with them? Are they really going to take what I said with them and apply it to those hundreds of dollars that they're spending on their kids?
You know what they should have called it? I mean, here, I have the box so you can see. So look at the buttons on this thing. So the buttons are very colorful on the new 3DS. You know what they should have called it?
The Super
3DS.
Everyone said that. And it's a no-brainer to me. No-brainer.
I would have killed it. Oh, if it was called the Super 3DS, I would have just had a nerdgasm. I would have loved it.
So much sense that it boggles the mind. Why does Nintendo have these amazing code names like the Revolution? Like if somebody were to say what is the Wii, the original Wii, it's a revolution. It is a revolution. It changed the face of gaming.
Or the Dolphin, I think one was called. Was that the GameCube?
Yeah,
it was called the Dolphin.
I'm glad they went with GameCube.
Yeah, I like
instead
GameCube.
of Dolphin. But Revolution is an amazing code name.
Yeah.
Yes.
And oops.
Update your phone, TJ.
I'm back. I'm back. But I can't believe that you wind up with, like, NX. We're getting really comfortable calling it the NX.
Yes.
We've been calling it the NX for too long because chances are it's not going to be the NX.
It's going to be the Wii U
I just hope
2.
it doesn't wind up being, like, the Wii 3.
Oh, no.
It's time to retire Wii.
Yeah.
It's time to get rid of Wii.
With how advanced this new system sounds like it's going to be, I can't imagine that the word Wii is going to be attached to it at all.
I hope not.
Yeah.
When they announced the Wii U,
Yeah.
that it was going to be the Wii U, I was at work, and my jaw just dropped. I could not believe that's the way they went. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So my thing is, I guess the question is, yes, I think that the system would have been more successful if it was called the Wii 2. Or if they called it something completely
We're all
different.
in agreement on that one.
So, but yeah, that's it for the speed round right now. I'm sorry we only got through a few, but next week we'll get through a lot more.
Yes.
I completely promise at that point. I do want to give a quick shout out to our announcer, Jared Rutledge. He is outstanding. He's the guy who does the announcing voice at the beginning of this episode. I think did he ever work with you on Smash Supremacy?
Yeah, he's an all-star. You need to check out his episode. It's one of my favorites. I think it's episode 12.
I'll put it on the screen.
Correct me in the comments.
But the guy's amazing. So if you haven't checked him out yet, highly recommend it. And real quick before we go, TJ, where can we find you?
You can follow me for me TJ at Smash Me TJ on Twitter, and if you prefer to take a walk on the dark side, you can find my dark alter ego at Smash Me Dark TJ, or if customizing's your thing, you can check me out at Custom Conquest.
CustomConquest.com will also send you to all of his videos for Custom Conquest.
Which are incredible, so definitely check those out.
We're working on a full site for that, by the way, so that should be up
Awesome.
hopefully soon. We're working on a lot.
There's a lot of stuff going on
things
here.
at the moment.
Ooh,
Sneak preview.
Yeah, he's coming up next. Working on it
my god.
presently.
Looks amazing.
So if you guys are watching the podcast,
yes.
if
you
you're
get a preview.
listening right now, you're missing something amazing.
Yes.
So
We won't
watch the
say
video.
what.
Lauren, what about you?
Yes, you can find me at Happily Candied on Twitter, and the link to my personal website, happilycandied.com, is given in my Twitter description. It is my sugary corner of the world, as Jason loves hearing, and TJ can actually appreciate, so thank you, TJ. But yes, I post lots of my photos of all my collections, and you can tell how much I love photography and anything design related, so check it out.
All right, and I'm Amiibo Jason. You can find me at Twitter at Amiibo Jason. You can find me at Amiibo News. That is Amiibo at Amiibo News, excuse me. And of course at NintendoInquirer.com. This is our new mascot. This is Hamburger.
I'm sorry.
He's upside down.
Nope. Sorry,
This is
this one
Hamburger.
is the mascot.
Nope.
It's a cinnamon roll.
Sorry.
Okay.
This is Hamburger. You can find him. If you want to see more Hamburger, go on Twitter and type in hashtag Team Hamburger. If you want to see more Hamburger. All right, get out of here. Hamburger is the winner. This is the new... Hey, don't throw him.
If you guys put them together, you have a very balanced meal.
I don't know
I
about
couldn't
that.
agree more. Somebody else said that,
Nothing
actually.
goes better than salty and sweet, right?
I agree.
But we will be back next week for episode 3. And we look forward to it. We hope you guys are enjoying the new format, and hopefully you enjoy that we're actually doing this weekly now. But we will be back soon, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
Have a good morning or evening, depending on when you're listening or watching. And TJ, want to send us out?
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
I love it. Bye.
Thanks for playing.